Today we're going to learn about order of operations, and I just want to remind you that this is nothing new. This is something that we learned in 5th grade. So who can remind me something that we learned about order of operations in the 5th grade? Alright, Bob, what do you remember about order of operations? Oh good, our strategy is GEMDOS. Alright, so since this is something that we learned in 5th grade, let's take a look at what it looked like in 5th grade. So as a 5th grader, order of operations could have what we call double groupings. So this could be the brackets and the parentheses. And when we work this, we want to remember that we work the innermost parentheses first and then work out. We're still going to use our GEMDOS strategy. The only difference is we do not have exponents as a 5th grader. As 6th graders, we're going to add on exponents to our order of operations, and exponents is not something new. We've already talked about exponents this year. So really, we're just going to be putting everything that we know together and adding on to our order of operations. In your spiral, I want you to go ahead and write down your first example problem. We have 5 plus 18 divided by 3 squared. I want to remind you that an exponent of 2 has a special nickname. We're going to say squared instead of to the power of 2. And I want you to go ahead and write down your checklist, GEMDOS. We're going to check this off as we solve our problem. I'm going to go ahead and wait till everybody's pencil is in front of them. That way I know that you're ready to begin. Alright, as I'm looking around, I see everybody's pencils on their desk in front of them. Because this is the first problem, we are going to solve it together. So I'm going to start with my G, and I'm going to scan my problem, and I do not have any grouping symbols in this problem. No brackets, no parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and check off my groupings. I do see exponents. I see my 3 squared. Now when I work 3 squared, I want to remember that this really means 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 is 9. And I want to go ahead and write everything else down in the problem exactly like I see it. So I have 5 plus 18 divided by 9. And I don't see any more exponents in that problem, so I'm going to go ahead and check off my exponent. Now we come to our multiplication and division step. Remember that multiplication and division is one step. We work it in the order that we see it in the problem. So you're not always going to multiply first. You could divide. So as I'm scanning this problem, I see 18 divided by 9 first. 18 divided by 9 is 2. And I'm going to go ahead and write down the rest of the problem exactly like I see it. And there is no more multiplication or division, so I'm going to check that off. And my last step is addition and subtraction, and we work this the same exact way. We're going to add and subtract in the order that we see it. And the first thing I see is addition. 5 plus 2 is 7. And there are no more steps to this problem. Here is our second example problem. We have 8 plus 12 minus 8, and that's in parentheses, squared over 2. I want you to go ahead and write this problem down in your spiral along with your checklist. And when you're finished, I want you to put your pencil down in front of you. That way I know that you're finished. Remember, I am going to wait till I see everybody's pencil on their desk before we start this problem. Alright, I see everybody's pencils on their desk in front of them. Now, to start this problem, I want you to turn to your elbow partner in just a second. And with your elbow partner, you're going to discuss with them what you think the very first step to solving this problem is. And I'm going to give you 10 seconds to do this. So remember, you're going to turn to your elbow partner, and you're going to discuss what you think the very first step in solving this problem is. Ready? Go. Excellent. If you rode the bus to school today, if you'll stand up, please. Alright, and if you're standing and you have a prime number at your desk, stay standing. Alright, now if you're still standing and you have the smallest prime number, if you'll tell me what you and your elbow partner discussed. Okay, thank you. So you're saying that the first step is to do 12 minus 8. Now, I agree with you, but 12 minus 8 is subtraction, and that's the very last thing on our checklist. So can you explain your reasoning behind that? Excellent, because it was the grouping symbols that told you to do 12 minus 8 first. Excellent, great job, thank you very much. So 12 minus 8 is 4, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy everything else down exactly like I see it. Excellent job. Alright, if you have a composite number at your desk, if you'll stand up please. And if you were a car rider today, stay standing. And if you have glasses on, stay standing. Can you tell us what the next step is, Haley, in solving this problem? Excellent. We are going to do our exponents because there's nothing inside these parentheses to do, so we can go ahead and check off our groupings. And 4 squared, because remember that 2 has a special nickname, is what? 16. Excellent job. And copy down everything else exactly like we see it, and we can go ahead and mark off our exponents. Alright, so we have 18 plus 16 over 2, and I want to remind you that a fraction is also a division problem. So we come to our multiplication and division step next, and we're going to do 16 divided by 2, which is 8, and then we have 8 plus 8, which is 16. Alright, we're moving on to example number 3. Example number 3, I just wanted to bring your attention. We do have a negative number in here. We have negative 4 to start our problem off with. So negative 4. And then in parentheses we have 13 minus 7, close parentheses, plus 2 squared. So I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to copy this down in your notebook along with your checklist. And when you're finished, if you will put your pencil down on your desk in front of you. Excellent, I see everybody's penciled down. So this time what I would like you to do to start this problem off with is I'm going to give you about a minute. And I want you to get started with your elbow partner. You and your elbow partner are going to work together to get started on this problem. And then I'm going to jump in and make sure we're all on the same page. So I'm setting my timer for a minute, and I want you and your elbow partner to get started together. Go. Alright, so you had about a minute to get started there. And remember, we're going to start with our grouping symbol. So I'm going to start with 13 minus 7, and that is 6. And I'm going to copy down everything else exactly like I see it. Now, I do see more grouping symbols in this problem, but there's nothing inside of those groupings that I can work, so I'm going to go ahead and check it off. I do have an exponent. I have 2 squared, which is 4. And I'm going to copy down everything else exactly like I see it. And now I'm going to multiply and divide in the order that I see it. And this is where this problem can get a little bit tricky. I do have multiplication. Here's where my negative number comes into play. Negative 4 times 6. A negative times a positive is a negative. So this is going to be a negative 24 plus 4. And that brings me to my last step, which is addition and subtraction. A negative plus a positive. When the signs are different, I'm going to find the difference. So I'm actually going to subtract, and that's going to leave me with a negative 20. Alright, so now this is where I would have my students practice. I would do a scavenger hunt with them, or maybe a desktop traveler, or they could work on versatiles, or find someone who. This is a good time for partner work or small groups. I would probably pull a group at this time if I saw anybody struggling. This is a good time to do peer buddies, put a struggler with somebody who is strong. And then once they've had time to practice, then you would want to do your exit ticket. So in a complete sentence, explain the first step in solving this problem using the order of operations. I would have them do this on a sticky note and then stick it on the door as they are walking out of the classroom.